Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to yet another episode of What's Hot with Sea of Tranquility on this Wednesday, new review day on the channel each and every week. For this episode, we're going to take a look at a brand new release on Purple Pyramid Records. They like to do these kind of like collaborative type things. These all-star cast paying tribute to bands, right? This is a tribute to King Crimson, specifically In the Court of the Crimson King, the first album. It's called Reimagining The Court of the Crimson King, various artists. And there we have a similar looking cover that we got on the original King Crimson debut. All right. So you might be asking, Pete, well, who is playing on this particular album as we pay tribute to the debut King Crimson album? Well, we've got, let's just go through the track list, shall we? Well, first let me just show you the inside. You just basically get an explanation of who's playing on what. So, of course, we've got the same track list sequence as on the debut King Crimson album. We've got 21st Century Schizoid Man leading things off. We got a couple versions on this album, though. We've got sharing vocals Todd Rundgren and Arthur Brown. Okay, Mel Collins on sax, of course, from King Crimson and various other bands, latest incarnation of King Crimson. I'm not really sure when this was recorded because they don't really say, but as we've got some folks who are no longer with us, at least one in particular. I'm sure this was done a few years back, right? Possibly. Chris Poland on lead guitar, of course, from, formerly of Megadeth and lots of other projects. Ian Pace on drums from Deep Purple, and Jürgen Engler on additional guitars, bass, and keyboards. And I'm assuming he helped kind of like with the arranging and things because he's basically on every track. He's a German musician, producer, arranger, right? So there's that. On I Talk to the Wind, you've got Mel Collins on flute, Jacko Jacek on bass, Django Jacek on bass, and Jacko Jacek on guitars, keys, and vocals. I'm assuming Django, perhaps his son. I don't really know. We've got Epitaph. We've got Alan Davey on bass guitar, mellotron, and organ. Paul Rudolph on electric acoustic guitars. Nick Turner, of course, the late Nick Turner from Hawkwind, on flute. Adam Hamilton on drums, and Danny Faulkner on vocals, and those folks from Orchestral and the Pink Fairies, right? You've got Moonchild, which features Jolyn Turner on lead vocals. Joe, of course, formerly of Rainbow. Marty Friedman of guitar, also formerly of Megadeth. So you got two former Megadeth shredders on here. Ja Wobble on bass. Chester Thompson on drums. The great Chester Thompson. Jürgen Engler, once again, additional guitars, bass, and keyboards. So he's kind of like the Billy Sherwood on this particular album. Billy appears on a lot of these other projects on Purple Pyramid, and he also is the kind of the multi-instrumentalist that's on like every track. And then the Court of the Crimson King is James LaBrie on vocals, Carmine Appice from drums, of course James LaBrie from Dream Theater, Carmine Appice from everybody, Cactus and Vanilla Fudge and yeah, you name it. Steve Hillage on guitar, formerly of Gong, and Jürgen Engler once again on additional things. And then we've got an alternative version of 21st Century Schizoid Man. This just has Arthur Brown on vocals, Brian Auger on keyboards, Chris Poland lead guitar, Ian Pace on drums, and Jürgen Engler on additional instruments. However, they don't mention Mel Collins on sax, but he's definitely on there because it's the same sax lines that appear on the first version of 21st Century Schizoid Man, and he's listed on that one. So one thing about some of these Purple Pyramid releases, there's a lot of mistakes that you find in the liner notes and things like that, just kind of like head-scratching things. And then you also get a instrumental version of 21st Century Schizoid Man, I'm assuming with the same musicians, just no vocals, right? All right, so anyway, now that you know who's on this, how is it? Well, I mean, these are great songs, right? This is the first King Crimson album is absolutely legendary. I love everything on it. They play this very safe, very much capturing the spirit of the original recordings. They don't try to do anything really different. And so, again, my take on these type of things usually. It's like, well, since they're not really putting their own stamp on things and they're trying to keep it just so similar to the original, it's called reimagining, right? Reimagining, but it's really not. It's just basically doing cover versions of these songs. It's all good, right? It's all good. But like after you listen to this once or twice, like how are you ever going to go back to these versions when you got the real ones, right? The original version, right? So, but in saying that, 21st Century Schizoman is pretty good. What I don't get, and again, it's just kind of confusing. So you've got the first version has both Todd Rundgren and Arthur Brown on vocals. You can kind of tell when each one of them is singing, right? And Mel Collins sounds great on here. The sax is great. Chris Poland's guitar work is awesome. You can hear Ian there, right? It's very, very cool. But then like on the alternate version where it does not list Todd Rundgren, but lists just Arthur Brown, Arthur's vocals don't sound like they do on the first version. And I'm almost kind of like, that doesn't sound like him at all. I don't know. Brian Auger's keyboard work, however, on the alternate version is very nice to hear that kind of like Hammond organ going in the background. I kind of dig that. But again, there's definitely Mel Collins on sax on the alternate version too. So you got the keys and the sax. Why they don't list him, I don't know. But it's still, either version is good. I Talk to the Wind, that's kind of nice. So you got lots of Mel Collins flutes. You got Jocko singing. I always like Jocko's vocals. I think he's quite good. And it just kind of, makes me miss that last incarnation of King Crimson all the more because I thought that was a really good band. Epitaph is really good. I love Epitaph anyway. I think they do it justice. Danny Faulkner sings it. He sounds great on it. You got lots of Mellotron, right? It's a nice little guitar work and things. Just really good. Hearing Nick Turner on flute is always good. We miss Nick Turner. He's amazing. Moonchild's pretty good. Got Joe Lynn Turner on vocals. Yeah, you can kind of tell it's Joe. Right? He doesn't try to do too much of that kind of like melodic rock thing. He fits in really well here. To me, on this, the great thing is hearing Marty Friedman do these nice, really cool, virtuoso little jazzy solos and bits all throughout it. Really good. Love Marty. Great guitar player. And then the Court of the Crimson King, you got James Labrie on vocals. I love James. Is he a good fit here? He's okay. He's all right. Carmine's drums, it's not, Court of the Crimson King is not a real big drumming song, so it's like you don't really notice Carmine all that much. But Steve Hillage does drop in some nice little guitar things throughout the song, so I think that's very cool. So yeah, I mean, ultimately, do you need something like this? You really don't. But if you have a passing interest in all this, in this cast of characters that's on here, and if you kind of buy into a lot of these, tribute albums, you'll probably have some fun with this. So if you've checked out a lot of the Purple Pyramid stuff they've done before, all these tributes to various classic bands, and you like hearing these all-star casts being kind of thrown together to see how it all comes out, you'll probably enjoy this. It's safe, but it's fun. I'm gonna give this, I'm gonna give it 3.5 out of 5 star. It's nothing essential, but like I said, you could get worse, right? You could certainly hear much worse, and these are great songs. They do them justice. They stay very true to the original arrangements and things, and you got some good performances on here. So I'll just kind of leave it at that. Visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube all together all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already and click on that notification bell so you get alert of all of our content as it posts. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Also, down below, we got the links to our Ko-Fi page for channel donations, our merch page, and our Cameo page. Thank you in advance for all your support, as always, and we'll see you soon here with more stuff. I'm Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Check out all these new reviews, and we'll be back next week with more, right? So don't miss it. Take care. Bye-bye.